First up, we have an introduction to do. We have a new student representative to the school board tonight with us, Marissa McGlynn.
Yes.
Is that right? Just want to.
Yeah, so I'm a sophomore at Raymond High School. I'm a part of SALT, Site Council, RCFY, and I do a bunch of other things like French Club. And I'm really grateful that I got this position that I can represent all the students.
Welcome.
Yep.
Thank you for being here. All right. Next up, our students, our schools, Lamprey River Elementary School Kindergarten Learning to Read.
Yes, Miss White has a group of kindergartners and they're going to help us and show us what happens in kindergarten when they're learning to read. John, you want to tell them?
Everyone get settled.
Thank you. If the parents would like to come up on either side of us to take either pictures or whatever else you'd like to do, you're certainly allowed to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As everyone gets settled, I just want to introduce you. We're learning to read in kindergarten. And this is about the time of year that the kindergartners really start getting started learning to read. And these are the resources that we use to support reading. Foundations, Heggerty, iReady Reading, and then we use Scholastic News to kind of support everything, which is reading comprehension, vocabulary, and our cross-curricular connections. And I wanted to share this video real quickly. This is reading with Mrs. Coughlin's class, and they are using building words with magnetic tile boards, building words with large letter cards, and you're going to notice that they're tapping out their sounds. So I'm going to build a word, and then we're going to tap it out. We're going to read it together. Are you ready? Let's see this. We're going to build. Okay, let's go ahead and tap out this word. Ready? Good. Dot. Good. I'm going to change the key. Let's tap this out. Ready? Hot. I'm going to change the O and hot. Hit. We're going to do two more. We're going to change the P and M. Are you ready? Last one. I'm going to change the I to an O. Here we go. Ready? Excellent job. Okay, with some bigger cards here, I'm going to build a word. Okay, and Apollo, you're going to go first. What you're going to touch each letter and say the sound and try to read the word. Ready? Go ahead. Excellent. Now let's see. I'm going to take away the A, and I'm going to replace it with an I. What's this? It says this. Excellent.
Okay, like we're sitting right now.
You're right. Now I'm going to go back to Apollo. Apollo, this time I'm going to change the first sound, and I'm going to replace it with an F. Could you read me that word? What is that? Fit. Excellent. And Lucy, last but not least, this one is for you. Read me this one. Excellent. Okay, you got it. I'm reading words. So this time I'm going to give you the word, and I'm going to write the word.
Oh.
Okay, and we're going to stop right there, and then we're going to take it over. And I'd like to introduce Mrs. Ingalls. You might have met her before. She's been in our school district for 22 years, and for the last 4 or 5 years, she's been teaching kindergarten. So I'll let Ann introduce you to our students.
So we have Scarlett Lynn next to Mrs. White. We have Easton Duchamp, and we have Natalia Justin Rick. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get that. All right. You ready to start with some words? CPC words? Can you tap them up for me? Markers down. Okay. Ready? I'm going to show them first so they know which word we're going to start with. Okay. Ready? And tap it out. Show them how you tap out your favorite words.
Run.
Good job. All right, ready? Tricky word. Oh, it's a letter. Good. It's a letter. Sound it out again, please.
It's this.
Good job. And if you notice, they're tapping with their fingers. They start with their what finger? Our pointer finger. And then we go to our middle finger and then our ring finger to tap out the sounds. Want to tap out another word? All right.
Not.
Not. Ooh, who can use that in a sentence? You forgot? That's okay. Say, Oscar.
I did not play outside.
I did not play outside today. Why? Because
Because it was raining.
it was raining. Cool. Ready? Last word, and then we'll build a word.
Jet.
Excellent. All right. Now I'm going to give you a word. You think you can write it for me? All right. We'll tap it out first. Ready? The first word's going to be set. All right. Let's tap it out. And go ahead and write it. I'm going to find my word. And I'll show it on 3 when you're ready. Paper. I know that letter's hard, isn't it? Set. All right, on 3. Want to show them? 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
Nice.
Want to do one more word? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? How about the word log? Let's tap it out first. Ooh, aw, good. Good job. Watch that last letter with its tail. It's a little wobbly. Nice. Good job on 3. 1, 2, 3. You guys like tapping out words?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of word can you not tap out? Do you remember what kind of word we can't tap out? The. Why can't we tap out the word
I
the?
think the sight word.
Because it's a sight word. We can't tap out those words. We just have to know them just by looking at them, right? Good job. Want to ask them if they have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Ben, is this your favorite part of reading right now?
You get to read at night?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very helpful when parents read at home with you, huh? And we practice our words. Yeah. It's great. If they have anything else?
Go ahead. What kind,
Anything else?
are there any books that you like reading now?
I don't know.
You do know how to read books, you silly goose.
I don't know how to read the books like mommy reads.
Well, yeah, because she's in 2nd grade, right? But you do know how to read books. Ethan, what's your favorite book? Ninja Turtles.
Because I got unicorn books.
Unicorn books.
There's a lot of books that like so much so many that I like.
Really? That's a good thing, right? That's a good problem to have when you have so many books that you can't choose one.
Keep
Ooh.
some in our basement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Amy, I'll send you a picture. So you can pick it up.
Ready?
Next up, public input. Anybody for public input? All right, I'll hold it open for 30 minutes. First up, student representative, Marissa.
Not a lot has been happening since I just recently got elected, so I just wanted to come here and introduce myself, but I hope that in the prior weeks I will have something.
At high school, what's going on next week, Marissa?
Next week we have a bunch of events being planned for RCFY, especially I know the RCFY kids are very excited about that. And I am working with the preschoolers here to do the Raymond cleanup shirts. So they're very, very excited to use their coloring skills for those.
And do they end midterm?
Yes, midterms. Big, big.
Oh, yeah. Just,
They're all
you
excited
know,
about that.
About
Yes, I have to mention that,
we'll work here once in a while, right?
Next up, financial update.
Hi.
Hi.
So presented before you tonight are the financials through December 31st, 2024. Your first tab is the revenues tab. So far through December, we have received 45% of our estimated revenues. Sorry, I guess we're not estimating right now, right? That's next year.
Yeah.
I'm too confused. Sorry. So 45%. Any questions on the revenues? Next up is a summary of general fund expenditures by object code. As you can see, we are still kind of holding strong at $1 million due to mostly health insurance of $600,000 and professional services for students at $300,000.
And the professional services for students, is that the result of us hiring
So those are
internal candidates as opposed to contracting those individuals? Is that?
So that's why if you look at the salaries this year are actually almost breaking even compared to the budget. But we are still saving right now in regards to health insurance. So between the two.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else on the expenditure? Joe, go.
It looks like that we're saving a decent amount of money on the electricity right now. I'm guessing propane and oils, all they're relatively about the same as we predicted. It looks like the electricity seems like we're saving more than what we predicted we were going to save.
Could be. I'm not sure. So Lisa, we typically encumber those funds for the end of the year and then when we get, if at right now we were kind of like showing that we were over, I would further encumber more, but we haven't done that. So like if an adjustment needed to be done, but if it's fully encumbered and I get to the closer end of the year, probably within like the next 2 or 3 months, and I was seeing that we might be seeing savings there, then I might release some encumbrances or adjust if I was expecting to go over. But yeah, if that's what you're saying, then yeah, you're correct.
Thank you.
Yep. Food service. So as we've been talking about, we've been having a lot of changes in the food service department. So a couple of adjustments, well, just one adjustment will have to be here eventually because Elise has just started. So that would be catering. So I'll have to adjust the catering for December because we didn't get there yet. But that will typically result in maybe $2,000 or $3,000. But right now, as you can see, even looking at the expenditure side, we're not spending what we said so far. So right now, we're actually only showing a deficit of 66,000 as opposed to 100. Any questions?
On food service?
And then the last page is the detail, or not page, but pages are the detail of expenditures by object code, which Joe noticed the oil and the electricity.
Thank you, Marjorie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next up, school nutrition services update.
Thank you, Jerry.
Right here.
Okay.
Okay, great. Sit. Well, I said I get to sit.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. Been about a month since we met and settling in nicely to Raymond District, I must say. It's been a real pleasure being here. So let's start out with going in the overview. I'm old school. I've got my notes on my printed copy. So we'll go over the free and reduced percentages, participation, the current debt. We'll focus a little bit on the catering spotlight, which was the Southeast Superintendent's event, which was, I think, pretty, Jerry says pretty good. I think it went well. Okay, got some good news, guys. Year over year for the statistics for the enrollment for free is decreased a little bit for elementary, as well as it's kind of stayed static for middle school. Again, more or less a slight decrease, little increase of other places. And that's just the enrollment of the students participating in that program. Yep. Hold on. Oh, sorry. New wheels here. Thank you, Terry. So getting into the average breakfast and lunch participation, we have some upticks from last year. And about 20% increase on middle school and 26 on the high school. So that's moving up slowly. You can get, we'll get to the year over year from 2021 on the next slide. So again, we just have, this is overall meal participation summary. Just different ways of slicing the prior information. But the good news is it's going up. Okay, now we get the negative balances. Negative balances are currently about where we were last year. We do have a slight increase on the middle school. We are doing an aggressive program to work with payment programs with parents and the families. So I'm hoping we can get some resolution there with some of this that may just be overlooked accounts as well. As far as, there's a desperate financial need within a family that's not, that has not applied for the free and reduced program. So now we get to the good news. So start with the necessity is a mother of invention. This is our current commodity inventory, which is about 21,000 district-wide. That may be a little bit on the conservative side. This is the commodities that we receive on a monthly basis. This is inventory stemming from last year as well. And this is, like I use the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention. So we have a very enthusiastic team that is looking forward to creating menu items surrounding our commodities. This is basically money that comes in through the government, not money, comes in, product that comes in, and utilizing that for all of our menus moving forward. So we should see a decrease in a continued decrease in what we're spending for the meals without having to sacrifice for the students. And I made that very clear with the team that there's things that we can do behind the scenes, creating new items, making small adjustments, but not having it appear as we're just, ripping the menu apart and changing things on a drastic level. DoD Fresh, and I'll be working closely with the managers with their purchasing, and they are, everyone's very excited, very on board with drilling down on some of our expenses. We have $7,000 available For our DoD grant, which is going to be priority for purchasing produce, anything that's not available for DoD, then we would go to our local vendor. Our broadliner, which is our PFG, we're currently at 11,000 in inventory throughout the three schools. And again, it's really staying on top of utilization of the ingredients that we have on hand. We have a Smash Burger event coming up. That's going to be, I think, the first week of November at the high school. And that's going to be some exciting stuff. Not cooked to order, but hand pressed burgers. Jody's very excited. She's one of the cooks at the high school, and she's very excited, as well as Maggie, the manager. So pleased with that. Does anybody have any questions yet, or should I just continue and then? That's good. Yeah, this was our catered event for Terry's superintendent meeting. Questions?
Anybody have any questions for Alyssa?
On the amounts that are due, the balances that are due,
Yes.
looks like and I could be wrong, it looks like the elementary school is ticking higher than normal.
Let's, yeah, go back to that slide.
Or has in the past, I should.
No, well, I mean, I could,
$300,
yeah.
you know. But the good news is the high school's down, so.
The high school's down, and we do have,
7%, 7 or 8% increase,
pardon?
7 or 8% increase, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it fluctuates hour to hour, so it just depends on the purchase, on what's coming in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what's going out. We do have a small amount, we have $900 in our donation fund that will be distributed to the free and reduced that are negative. Families that have developed, that have developed a balance before they got their application.
Most of those individuals been at the elementary school. I mean, the middle, most of those individuals been at the middle school because that's the most
What's
significant.
your largest increase in free and reduced?
Middle school. Oh, as far as like participation or meal debt?
Mailed it.
Well, we'll go with, because it could be. Oh, it could-
I
could-
will send that information for you as far as, that's a very good statistic to look at. Where that is coming from as far as the meal debt. I can get that over to Terry and he can contribute to you. I think that's good questions.
Terry, if you could just quickly go over what we do as a district to try to collect on these things.
Phone calls, emails, letters, and then ultimately we take them to small claims to try and get it. Typically that they come forward, we get them on free and reduced, and then we talk about wiping their debt out through donations so that they don't have anything. So we're pretty, what do I want to say? We get out, we're pretty diligent in trying to get them to pay it down.
Yep. No, I just want to make sure everybody understands that what we're doing. And how many times would you estimate you went to small claims last year?
Oh, geez.
More than a dozen. Around it. Just give everybody a perspective as to, and that cost us, what, $90?
$90 to file.
Oh, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I had another question, but I forget what I was gonna say now.
Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up. 2025-26 operating budget warrant article. The budget committee voted to change the operating budget to $30,723,861, a reduction of $927,379. This is on the take action so that we can recommend or not recommend that. I'll entertain a motion.
Are we gonna talk about?
Well, first,
Okay,
if we recommend it, then I don't think we need to do anything.
well, I'll vote to recommend the budget committee's operating budget of
So you vote or make a motion?
Yeah, I think we're making a
You said I
motion right
vote.
now.
Oh, did I say I vote? I'll
Yeah.
be okay.
I'm like,
My fault.
I'm like, are you just starting today?
Room.
I thought maybe I
I'll make
missed
a motion
something
to accept the budget committee's.
Recommend.
to
Did I
recommend.
say recommend?
You accept, but it's,
I'll make a motion to recommend the 25-26 budget committee's operating budget of $30,723,861.
second
Second.
discussion.
I have a,
Go ahead.
so what are the options here? If we just recommend or don't recommend, we don't really have a chance to change anything.
Well, no, what happens is if we recommend it, that means we agree with the budget committee's budget
Right.
and we don't have to do anything
Right.
tonight after that. If we vote not to recommend, then we as a board would then decide, do we want to do anything about it?
And
And
what
if we-
are those options?
And if we want to know what the options are to amend it at the deliberative session, and that's the only option we have. And then it's by, what is it the board wants the number to be? Go ahead, Joe.
I just let you know Steve is online right now.
Oh, okay. Steve, if you could tell us where you are and the reason you're not here. Radio
Yeah,
silence.
can you? Yeah, sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yeah, Terry's gonna raise the volume a little bit. Steve, thank you.
Yeah. So I was actually at a wake that took a lot longer than was expected. So I am in my car driving that way now.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, and thank you for getting me connected.
You all set with that, Cindy? I wasn't expecting to do that, but I need to do
Yeah,
that
that's
before I
okay.
forget.
I'm just, so we're either accepting this or not.
Mhm.
And the only other thing we can do is wait for deliberative to make it possible.
Right, but here we would do, if we're gonna do anything at deliberative, now is the time to talk about it as a board. And if the board decides to do something, we talk about it and figure out what it is that we want to do. All set, Cindy?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
yes, thank you.
I didn't know if you were contemplating or what.
I am contemplating, but
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, I was disappointed in that the budget committee, not that they cut something, but they couldn't come up with where they were gonna cut. And they just chose the easy way out, which was to go with the 23-24 MS-27. And just, that's what the MS-27 reflects. So they chose not to tell us where they suggest or where their budget they would cut specifically. Mr. Vogel did mention, I think a couple things. But ultimately, they just chose to do the expedient thing because the night was getting late as opposed to doing what I feel is their job, which is to be specific as to where they cut. So I can't support somebody cutting something, just taking a number out of the air and no justification. Anybody else want to weigh in? All right.
I'll just say,
Go ahead.
the night that I did agree to this, we were kind of a little bit of a stalemate to agree to the budget itself. And, that's the thing I had is I realized that the budget's really high, but I don't think anybody on the board even had an idea of where we could cut. And I personally didn't want to cut a bunch of teachers because I feel like that's where we need the most, that's where the proof of the pudding happens is between the teacher and the student. And I know the other people have a lot to do with it, but if you put the teachers under a situation that they can't manage because of maybe class size or whatever, then everything looks bad to everyone else. So that was my thing. So yeah, I think it's unfortunate that there's not some kind of a guidance as to where the town, even the townspeople might think, if they've gone through it and they don't want to pay so much, what is it they would suggest to cut budget and where they would cut it?
Joe?
I mean, of course, I was disappointed when they cut as much as they did. I mean, seems to be a stigma over certain things that we're doing in the school that, you know, are actually improving the schools in the long run, saving us money in the long run. But the cut where, you know, the list that we have that I'm looking at, it is dramatic. I mean, they're putting us in the, again, they didn't tell us where to cut. They didn't even add the $36,000 that the town wanted us to pay for trash. That all of a sudden we have to put in the budget because we said we'd pay for that. So that's another $36,000 that we'll have to add on to the already list that we have here and cut something else. It was definitely disappointing to see. I mean, our budget was 3%, wasn't 13 or anything like that. I think when people look at zero, they're expecting there to be no tax increase. We're still going to have a tax increase because of the revenues that are coming in, which we're predicting a shortfall. And I think it's going to be around 46 cents anyhow for a tax increase. Well, most of that's revenue from the state that we're not getting as much of. And so that right there is 46 cents of what the tax increase was going to be. So we're definitely going to we'll have some tough decisions depending on what the vote is. So.
I have a question.
All right, 1 minute. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess, obviously I was on that, meeting last week and, just kind of to keep it easy because I'm on the road, echoing what Joe's saying. I tried to propose just keeping our budget at the proposed level. I was very disappointed that, the cut was as big as it was. So, I'm hoping that there is something that we can do, but I just don't feel that, you know, leaving us that short, obviously it's going to get us anywhere where we need to be.
Thanks, Steve. All right, the motion is to recommend the budget committee's budget. All those in favor of recommending? Opposed?
No, you got to roll call.
Oh, that's right. I've got a poll. Sorry. Joe?
Yes.
Cindy?
No, sorry. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Say no.
Okay. Steve?
No.
Myself, no. So the motion to recommend fails 0-4. All right. So now the time would be, if we want to do something, now would be the time to do so. And I know in the past, the board has, not this board, obviously, but boards in the past have amended it on the floor after having a board discussion as to what it is that they want it to be. I'll open it up for any discussion about what we want to do next.
I mean, I think in my mind, I think we have to look at amending it on the floor. I mean, I'd go back to the original amount, just looking at the cuts that Terry proposed, which I'm not agreeing with.
Gotta get to the number.
But he gave us something.
I think,
I mean,
no, I'll mention it. Terry and I did talk and he said, well, I want to have something. And I said, yeah, I just have a list of things that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Certainly he doesn't want to do them, but
no.
it's just, I just wanted to,
I have a question about.
but go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry. And then Cindy.
No, you couldn't do that.
I just have a question about this list as far as, are these people who are actually in these positions? And you're gonna have to tell them, we're done. That's, okay.
Well-
It's not extra positions
Nope.
that you were hoping to
Nope.
fill.
Nope.
Because a lot of times, I know that I've been in this, now this is what, my third or fourth time. That there's a surplus at the end of the year. Sometimes it's because of positions. I think in 2020, and which wasn't mentioned at the budget committee, in 2021, there was a surplus because of the money that was given because of the COVID stuff. And I was here saying, maybe we shouldn't take that money. And we, you know, for whatever reason, I still don't understand where it came from, but it came and went. So that's like why we had extra at that time. Now we're at the point where we enjoyed the extra. Now we're having to tighten our belts again. But there was extra money, and sometimes it was due to, you know, lack of positions.
We still have open positions. The majority of them are paraprofessionals, which are IEP mandated. And as I explained to the budget
Oh, yeah, we
committee,
can't just say,
right now, we're out of compliance. But I
right,
can say we're out of compliance due to the fact that I can't hire someone. I can't say I'm out of compliance because we decided to cut them.
right.
I will get in trouble then. And then the state will come in and say, you need to hire them. So if you cut them, then you're going to be in the deficit. Does that make sense?
So if you cut these and you're in a deficit because you don't have enough paras, then you're kind of double behind the 8 ball. Like, how do you cut these and still meet the needs of the children?
It will be a struggle. Before we go on, I just want to make sure if anybody has something they want to say, because the public input is still open. If they're interested, go ahead. Come on up. If you would.
Jim McLeod, as citizen.
Yep.
I had some specific questions about the actual tax impacts on these, so I don't know if this is the proper venue. It sounds like
Of which ones are you talking about?
these are the draft warrants. And
We're only discussing right now the operating budget, and then we'll be discussing, the 2 petition warrant articles.
okay, that's what I have. comments on.
All right,
Thank you.
we'll take it up then. Thank you, Mr. McLeod. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tom Lush, I'm the new school moderator. And just wanted the clarification. So I see we have the second session, as Jim pointed out, the list here. So number 2 is that a warrant article?
Yes.
New to the process, so I'm trying to learn what the warrant
that's fine.
articles are.
Yep. They're all warrant articles. They're all articles to the warrant. The first one obviously is the voting of for the 2 positions on the school board. And then the remainder are a combination of 5 school board, I think, and 2 petition warrant articles.
So this is number 2 right now.
The operating budget.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I don't know. Did Steve have a question or?
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, and I apologize because obviously I was late, but can you give me a quick recap of those positions that are being suggested for the cut?
Not yet.
We haven't discussed them.
Okay, all right.
Terry hasn't talked about them yet, Steve. We had to get through the first thing as if we're now at the point of, we didn't recommend, so now the discussion is what do we want to do next? Joe is saying he thinks we should amend it at the deliberative session. And we haven't gotten to the point of, well, what is that number and what is it that we're going to reduce to do so?
All right, I would just say that I agree with Joe. I think we should amend it on the floor, and I would like to see us get us back to the original proposed and add the 987,000. I don't remember the exact number back in. So I know if we're going to do a formal vote later, but that's where I would be on that as well.
Okay,
I actually have a question.
go ahead.
These right here that you proposed, I mean, we already cut 1 teacher at the elementary school, I believe. First grade teacher. Was it first grade teacher?
Middle school. Middle
We
school.
didn't cut
Was
that
it middle
one.
school?
Yep.
Okay, because we kept,
Only 1.
okay. Because we looked at keeping the teacher at the elementary school, I know for the program that Amy wanted to start. I have it in here somewhere. Almost have like a school in the school for those kids who really need help.
Mhm.
Because they have been very distracting to other students in the classes and stuff like that. And we'd like to keep them in the district as long as possible, yeah. And from what I hear, the way they're going, might not be so long if they keep disturbing every class that they're in. Because then we're just upsetting other students and other parents, so. One reason why I don't like some of these cuts, but I understand where you're coming from. I know I'm
Yeah,
blaming
you guys got to give me a number. I had to get to the number.
I think what the next step should be is if Terry can go over his list so that the board can then come up with a number. An idea as to, okay, how, if we cut these positions or that position or whatever program, we have a better sense as to how much money that we're talking about.
Before you do that, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
And at the bottom, it says estimated of passing this is 46 cents per thousand. If we don't pass it, so that means if we pass it with the smaller number, it's 46 cents per thousand.
Mhm.
If it doesn't pass, we keep the larger number. And that'd be 90
That's the
cents.
default budget.
That's the
The default budget of
Okay.
31,314,295.
Okay,
That's a 90 cent.
so if they
increase.
don't pass the budget cut, it will go to the default.
Whatever the
As
budget is,
it's
that's
written
correct.
here.
Yep,
Okay.
whatever the budget is.
We ready? All right, so the proposed cut, the first one would be the curriculum, the books, the 125,000. We were looking at math this year in grades 6, 7, and 8, and some high school and some science. We would just push that off for a year. The SRO initiative, that would basically have an SRO officer pretty much in the building every single day. Not that Sue's not here every day, it's just, sometimes vacations, they are short-staffed. So that was 46,690. Position wise, we were looking at the health teacher. We still haven't hired a health teacher at the middle school. So the goal would be to take health and roll it in with FCS, create still have some FCS and still have some health. Right now, there are going to be 73 students moving forward in 8th grade. So we would look at middle school social studies teachers. So that would create 3 classes of 18, 1 of 19. Middle school grade 5, there's 83 kids in grade 5, so that would be 3 classes of 21, 1 of 22. LRES grade 1, there are 88 looking to go into grade 1 next year, so that would be 3 of 18 and 2 of 17. LRES grade 2, there are 72 kids projected for grade 2, so that'd be 3 classes of 14, 2 of 15. Looking at a media specialist, that would be a librarian. We would have to take a look at the middle school and high school and have a shared resource there. We would look at cutting, and this one's kind of complicated. I added this, but either an English/science teacher or English/social studies teacher, and create a hybrid English/social studies to cover some of the standards, or maybe a science teacher too. Pete and I were chatting today, so that one's kind of still, but it's still roughly that amount. And then we would look at each building, looking at an admin assistant at each building. So that would bring the grand total cuts to 990,268, which would get us to where the budget committee wanted us to be approximately.
Questions, comments on that list? Go ahead, Joe.
Books.
Yep.
One, I don't want to go down that road again. We've
Well-
already had a
Yep.
CIP, or a CRF for books before.
Joe, I don't want to go down any of these. We can
Oh, I
debate
know.
them all day long, each one of
I
them.
think it's important for us to be able to articulate where we are.
Yep.
And we're not questioning what you're doing.
Yep.
It's just a matter of where we want to be. And I'm in the similar mind of Joe on the books part. I'd rather not do that. But that's just where I'm coming from.
We've done that in the past, and I don't want to have to,
My thought process behind this is I'd rather have the individual, which is the curriculum coordinator, who can make sure that everything is implemented, fidelity and follow through, than to buy a curriculum and not have anybody following through to make sure that it's done with fidelity and that. We are still struggling somewhat with iReady and reading and math. While we are paying the principals, a little stipend to help, I'm not going to lie, basically they're chasing kids all day long. They don't have the time to meet with teachers during that PLC time. They don't have time to meet with them to ensure or answer questions or create PD or workshops so that it's done. So while yes, I agree with it. I think for one more year with math, I have to weigh the balance of curriculum coordinator or the books. And so I'm kind of like, I think the individual is more important at the books at this for 1 year. And then hopefully next year we roll with the books. That's,
No, but I see, I know where you're going with it.
yep,
But then again, if we don't have the books the year afterwards, the curriculum coordinator is kind of,
yeah.
you know,
Well, we have the books K to 5 with the reading program and the math program. I know. And so that's my thought process.
I mean, the SRO initiative, I can see that, but we've had more parents complain. We've had more things happen at the high school this year than I can remember ever, maybe put together.
Well, one, and after that, it's been pretty quiet.
It's been, but there's
The
still
first
been.
month was rough. Not going to deny
First month
that.
was definitely rough.
Yep.
I mean, there's still been other things that have come up that, you know, you've looked into and have been able to squash before they became that another big item on it.
True.
So, for middle school health, we have third and fourth grade. I mean, fourth grade is there now. I thought they had to take health. Thought that was a requirement.
You can incorporate it into other subjects.
And this is,
So, I mean, for the last year, the year before that, it was done through FCS and through PE.
Mhm.
None of it's good. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to justify any of it. I should just say, yeah, you're right, but we've had, you know,
I have a question. First
Wait a
of
minute,
all.
Are you all
oh,
set, Joe?
yeah, I'll go back to my stuff.
Okay, go ahead, Cindy.
First of all, I want to say, thank you for putting forth this effort.
thank you. Well, Marjorie too.
Yeah, everyone, whoever had part in it. The other question is, okay, so you get to the deliberative, is it all or nothing? Or is it like, say, we at some point, somebody can say 500,000 rather than 900,000? Is that something that can happen?
Well, it's whoever gets their first one and makes a motion to amend. And then it goes for vote. If it passes, then usually the moderator will then put it on, I don't know the exact words, but put it onto the ballot. Other times moderators have said, is there any other amendments wanted on that? I've seen it done both ways. I don't know what the move.
I've only seen a couple, like changes like that. So say if somebody goes up to and says, I would amend this to, instead of 900,000, they say 100,000.
Mhm.
And then everybody votes and says, yes. Is it
It'd be-
over? Or does somebody can go up and say, I want to do 500,000?
Well, that's depends on the moderator, how they handle it. And I don't know what the legal is. We do have a moderator. If he feels comfortable speaking to it, he can. If he doesn't, that's fine. We've got both of them here.
So brand new process to me, so I'm here absorbing and listening, so we're gonna ask the questions when the meeting happens, and we'll bring it up, and if I need a break during the meeting there, we have legal counsel there, I do believe, correct?
We do. Yep.
We seated 2 seats away from me in my podium there,
Yep.
so brand new process to me, folks.
Yep.
And definitely a learning curve here, so.
So in essence, I've seen it done both two ways, where they allow it to be opened up again
Okay.
for further amendments, or the moderator will then say, I move it. I don't know what you've,
Oh, that's right. We like,
People can also vote to restrict.
right. That would be
Restrict,
after
yeah.
after the moderator moves it. So
so they vote to restrict it and then that means you can't go back.
if that passes, then can't be brought up again.
Yeah, okay.
I think Steve had a question.
So,
Yep, I'm trying to get to, go ahead, Steve.
yeah, sorry. I'm gonna go back a half a step. What was the position at the high school? The elimination was a social studies teacher?
Or English, or maybe science.
But a primary,
Yep,
subject.
yep.
And one of the cuts in the middle school was a 5th grade teacher, is that correct?
It'd be health, social studies, and grade 5.
So 3 at the middle school?
Yep.
You all set, Steve?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
All right.
understand what he said. How about that?
No, I understand. I just want to, so we can, next person. All right, I have a question and I'm not sure where you're coming from, Terry, on this one. You're saying that currently in our backup that we got back in October, the information regarding projected class, Tom's outline for the 8th grade is 4 teachers, 1 math lab. No math lab. It's called, the 4th teacher is called Spanish. I'm not sure why, but that's what he's got. Are you saying we're going to go down to 3?
No, we would go to 4. When we did all of this, we didn't identify anywhere on here because I said it's such a fluid thing. We just knew we were going to cut 1 from the middle school.
But you had said 8th grade was at,
8th grade, on this list, I'm being more specific because you basically said we need to know more specifics because, yep, so I'm being more specific now.
you're saying, I guess what I'm concerned, what I'm trying to understand is you're going from 4 teachers to 3 in 8th grade?
4 in 8th grade.
So where is the,
Yeah, that's what I don't get either.
This, during the budget season, this changed. We didn't change this. We proposed this and then I said, hey, and you guys were okay with that. I didn't want to be very specific in saying what teacher was being cut.
right, but what I'm confused about is where is that teacher that is assigned to, that you're cutting or proposing to cut for 8th grade?
So, let's see. So right now, there's already 1 cut from the middle school. I believe that looking at, it would have been,
The board left it up to you to decide where that was coming from.
yep. I think that was probably going to be in the 7th grade too, because the numbers were lower. We had a learning lab there we thought we could absorb.
Right, but what I'm,
So now so I still in my mind have that, I haven't identified that teacher, that extra teacher, that one that was already cut.
Yep.
I haven't identified it. So right now I just did probably 7th grade.
right, but what I guess my concern is, in 6th grade, we have 5 teachers listed. 6 and 7, because I'm just taking the middle school grades. And then there's 4 listed for 14. And you're suggesting one of those 14 will be removed for 8th grade. And that's what or are these numbers?
When we looked at it, you already had this list and then we looked at cutting 1 and we said, no, because you had this list. So that's what I was going by
So-
too.
We cut 1, but I basically said, ignore this list. And we might determine it somewhere else because again, too, people move on, they leave. And I didn't want to be specific to say this was at that time, this is the individual.
I understand that.
So there's technically at the middle school, there should be, because it's already in the budget, a cut. There should be there's not counting. So there's a health, social studies, grade 5, and the 4th one that hasn't been identified.
Take health out of the equation.
Yep.
Take the elementary grades, 5 and 6 out of the equation. And we have 14 teachers currently.
Yep.
Is that correct? And we're cutting one of them to be because of 8th grade. So we go from 14 to 13 for grades 6 through 8.
Okay.
Is that what you're suggesting?
I haven't wrote it down that way. I didn't do it that way, John.
I'm just trying to understand. Let me give me impact we're going to have by making any cuts.
All right, let me do some.
As the board knows and you know.
Yep.
I was in supportive of other cuts, but I just want to make sure I understand where you're coming from.
And health. So right now, in my mind.
Yep.
5th grade. 7th grade. 8th grade. And health. That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, I hear you.
Yep.
But I don't understand. We're going,
Hey, John.
1 minute, Steve. We've got 14 teachers in 6th through 8th grade. For the social studies, math, English, and science. In the case of 6th grade, there's a math lab teacher. And 5th grade, there's a learning lab teacher.
11, 12, 13, 14,
Because discuss the learning lab, that can be a math lab or English lab, depending on where the needs are of the students at the time.
So I guess my question is, where is that teacher coming out of?
So then just make it seventh grade and not eighth grade.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, because the eighth grade one's already technically gone.
Well, I said seventh grade.
Technically.
You guys say eighth grade. I don't, it's technically okay.
Anybody would, go ahead, Steve.
So, my question is on the fifth grade teacher, because we had talked back and forth on that initially. And I think, Terry, you were just saying originally we knew there was going to be somebody, but there was no designation. But now we're saying specifically a fifth grade teacher. But our fourth and fifth grade classes loop. So if we lose a fifth grade teacher, how is that going to affect the looping?
They'd have to be.
Because
Go
we're
ahead.
They'd have to
gonna end up
consult, the grades going from fourth to fifth, Steve, would then consolidate, take in essence 20% and add them to each, or 25% and add them to each of the other 4 classes, I would assume. But again, that also depends on if those classes are all going to loop, because there have been years when a teacher was expecting to loop and they decided not to because the class dynamics didn't lend itself to looping. But again, we're kind of jumping ahead.
Well, just because it's a fifth grade teacher, I wanted to make sure we have that out there because it is a program I think it's been successful. So I just don't want us to disrupt it if we don't have to. I know we have to find places, but just questioning if that's one of the right ones.
All right. I briefly had a conversation with you about this day or two ago, whenever the media specialist. What is the impact on our accreditation if we do anything different here? Can we reduce the number or combine the middle school and high school media specialists?
We'd have to let NEASC know and then see what they'd say, but for a year, I think we would be all right. I don't know. I don't think it would affect it if it's part-time. We would have to let them know though.
Yeah, I thought that would be prudent too. Go ahead, Jeff.
I'll just go on from there. That's one of my issues right now, especially where you even talked about putting social studies / English mixing in with other classes. We have to let NEASC know if we don't have this.
That one wouldn't be, that one I don't think would be a NEASC issue. Because there's hybrid classes. Everyone has multiple English social studies type classes that kids get credits on in other schools.
Yes, but we
We would, yeah.
don't have.
I'd be
a lot of
more,
the other classes.
I'd be more worried about
Schools
their, what they might say about a media specialist.
Well,
I mean, I'm worried about it all. I don't even know why. I should just be quiet. I don't know why I'm trying to justify it. I'm just trying to,
Well, I think
something's got to have,
it's important that we have an open conversation so that we know
Yeah.
the implications of anything that we do.
none of it's good, so.
I mean, even social studies class, I mean, guessing that's a government class that kids have to pass now to graduate. I mean, so that you're cutting that class, putting it somewhere. So now you're affecting what could possibly be for the state testing for that to graduate.
Could it be impacts across the district?
That's,
I agree.
I mean, the media specialist. Yeah, there's not a lot of books being taken out of here. They can read them here, but they ain't taking them out like they do at the elementary school and the middle school. We already have the facts on that one.
Yep.
From before. I mean, we can't jeopardize our accreditation. We're probably one of the, we're a smaller school. And I just don't want to not offer stuff, especially when we have SST. We have kids that only can take classes in the morning or in the afternoon. And they're pretty tight on classes now, a lot of them. I mean, I'd like to also see more students in SST, but that's also something we pay for as a community. And, I'd love to pay for it. It's trades are wonderful. I think we should have more people. You get basically free trade education through your high school and you start off debt free and not going to college. So.
Yes.
this is where I'm at. I support this SRO initiative. I would support the middle school health. The, seventh grade, which is listed as the middle school, social studies teacher. Grade 5, media specialist, so that we combine the position to split between the high school and the middle school. And then I would take 2 of the administrative assistants, in essence, secretaries, right? And I don't know which one is which 2 would be the first to go on the, but that's where I'm coming from. Just to move things along, so
So at least you take out or you keep?
I would, those positions I would support removing, because I think it's important that we show good faith to the community that
Oh, no.
we've got, and I just want to explain that we had a budget committee that, is looking at cutting 927 out. I wanted to cut more from the budget as everybody knows. So I'm be someplace in the middle, try to give everybody an option. Go ahead.
Can I just go over that? So the SRO.
Yep.
Middle school health, middle school social studies,
Yeah, the 8th grade one, yeah.
middle school.
Or 7th grade, excuse me, 5th grade, yeah.
Okay, so that would be 7th grade because the other one's technically not there. The media specialist,
Yep, so that we would split between, okay.
and 2 administrators.
Yeah, and I just need to have Marjorie or Carrie tell us which 2 they would be.
I have a question with that too. With the media specialist, I know we were looking at taking 1 and making it part-time over the SAU to start scanning all the stuff that we need to scan for.
Carrie has some,
I thought we took
Different
that
idea.
person out.
yeah, we're gonna take care of that.
We didn't, put that person in.
No.
In the first place.
No, we didn't put it in, but they were taking it
Yeah,
from
Terry's,
this particular slot, so I just want to make sure that, we're not taking it. We can't get it done now. We want to make sure it still gets done.
right, we want to
It's kind of
still get it
important.
done, yep.
Mhm.
There's only so much room we have downstairs for
Yeah.
paperwork.
So you're thinking like you want to be like half, like,
Well, that's where I came up at. I didn't,
what did you come up with a number?
I'm waiting for us, we need to be told right now, with not including administrative assistance, I got $388,511.
Not including them? Okay. Cause I came up with like
Yeah, I would,
34 estimated.
those are the ones I would support removing.
Add those up and I'll figure out which admin assistant it is.
I already did that.
But all of these are the ones that we,
The little black marks.
just gonna repeat it back to you one more time.
Yeah, if you could just let me know though, the administrative assistants.
Which one is
It
it?
would be the first one and the last one.
Stays.
So the $60,000
Those would be the two
one
go.
stays. Or 60,000 goes.
You're only cutting one?
Yep.
Sorry, I read that the other way.
You said 2.
I thought you said 2. That's what I understood.
But he thought you said 2 to cut 2 of them.
Actually, I did. I apologize.
Okay.
I did. Yep. Sorry. So the 2 we're removing is the top one and the bottom one,
Yes,
and the middle one is being kept.
correct.
So it is 2. I wanna make sure.
But
I
So can I
apologize.
ask, does that leave, is that one person at each school? And then we're only gonna have one for all 3 schools?
For these the administrative assistants, currently there's 3 in each location, Steve. And
within
I'm suggesting to go from 9 to 7.
9 to 7.
I don't know if
Okay.
anybody, I asked about that possibility, but
10 to 8. There's 4 at the high school.
okay, one's guidance though. Right, so they're.
Yep.
I'd lump them up differently, but anyways,
So I got
so yes, I stand corrected.
Sorry, I just,
It's fine. So we're all on the same page.
I got 539, 540.
I was in the middle of a conversation, so where did you come up with?
539, 540.
539,
Really?
539 what?
540.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what would get put back in, or that's what the cut would be?
Those are what I'm suggesting to remove from our budget.
You still have another 400,000 to go, Steve.
No, we don't. Not in my mind.
Well, he's thinking if we get it.
Yeah,
you know,
amended. But if
amended.
it's not, I want to kind of discuss that right now.
Can we, oh, okay.
Well, I think we go in with our amended and then we don't need to figure out the rest.
So I guess my concern there is, I hear what you're saying, and obviously I was there when it happened. My problem is when the budget committee proposed this, when it was proposed by the one individual, there wasn't a lot of reasoning other than it's too high. And I have a hard time cutting positions that are necessary or helpful and work just because someone thinks it's quote unquote too high. So I'm all for like being creative. I almost think that that's almost still a little too much to have it cut out. I think if someone could come in and say this person is too much, I don't think it is. We've already had teachers that are on the block to be cut. We cut $300,000 from salaries and benefits, which always scares me. So we've already done some cuts that were, I think, very aggressive. And I know folks aren't necessarily hearing all that from us, but to cut even more now, I think this puts us even in a harder position. And even last night at the budget committee, one of the town selectmen showed up and said, well, if you cut this budget, and they were talking about the town budget, not our budget, but if we cut this budget just to cut it, it arbitrarily lowers the tax impact, which is exactly what's going to happen for us, because next year we're going to need to look at adding some of this back in, and people will get even more upset because the increase next year will be higher because we're trying to correct for overcutting this year. And I know you had that one extra teacher you had that you were interested in cutting to keep it even lower, John. I just think that 500,000 is a lot.
I'll just say to that, I think it's important to remember that we've got two elected bodies and they both weighed in on the budget. And I understand clearly that the vote was 4-3 to support the budget committee's vote. That's the vote. But again, those four people are representing the entire community, as do we, the three others also. My point being that we have to hear people saying the affordability of the taxes. And we just can't bury our head in the sand and hope that goes away. Because for a lot of people, it's not going away. And we have to be cognizant of that. I'll be honest, when I said I thought we should be lower, I certainly didn't suggest at any point we'd be $500,000 lower. But I'm suggesting it now because you got to, in the way I think, right, wrong, or indifferent. Some would say it's wrong. Many. We have to hear from the budget committee and try to take that into consideration that, you know, they're representing people just like we are representing people. Does anybody have anything before? Because I'll make a motion if not to move things along. Go ahead, Joe.
Did I miss my opportunity to say anything?
Regarding this particular, come on up and after Joe speaks, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't support that particular cut. I mean, we're cutting 17% of the teachers at the middle school doing that, regular education teachers. Again, we're hurting our regular education students where, again, we can't cut paraeducators. We just can't. Regular education students, in my mind, I'll be the most unpopular one right now. I mean, I don't want to cut teachers, especially where, you know, Amy has a position where she wants to try something to save the town money, basically, because it costs a lot of money, a lot more than this one teacher's going to cost if we have to send somebody out of district. I mean, that's just the way it is. So if we have to bring in more specialists and more specialists to try to help these individuals, it costs a lot of money. You know, 5 times more to bring somebody in than if we hire somebody here, if we keep somebody here. And maybe, I'm not saying it's gonna work. I don't have a crystal ball, can't tell you that one. But that's positions where we could help. I mean, we've looked at other positions that have started to help keep kids in district. And we gotta keep that trend going here. Cutting a health teacher, I know you know FCS and health, but I'd have to say FCS is probably the most popular class at the middle school. And I found I don't want to go back to, guess what? We're having math 3 times a day here as the kids bounce off the wall. And I have parents going, my kid doesn't want to take math for the 3rd time in a day. I agree. I find math is important, but we can also overkill. You know, we've looked at it before. I mean, I would rather, if we have to go pay to play for sports, that's $214,510 instead of cutting teachers.
I'll set you.
Yep.
I'm Erin Brewitt. I have 4 children in the district. And I'm also a teacher, and I've been a teacher for 20 years now. So I know that people's hands are tied and you're in this position because of the way that the budget committee had voted. But it's painful to even hear the consideration of letting go of teachers just to kind of restructure things. Just to paint a picture of the classroom, what it looks like now versus 20 years ago and the needs of students. And, you know, even by saying a classroom size of 18 or 19 to that one teacher, but you're dealing with so many other things in a regular classroom setting where you're having so many different trauma students, you have special education students, and then you have your regular ed students, and then you're trying to enrich the students that have the ability to get to that level while you're busy taking care of every other thing. So it's a hard pill to swallow, even considering letting go of any teacher. And maybe because I am one, I just have a hard time thinking about that and how this classrooms would be restructured. And, you know, when you think about combining a social studies and a language arts teacher, well, now they have 2 things that they're having to prep for, and it's taking away from that planning piece. And student safety is also another concern. And I know that it makes parents feel a lot more comfortable having their kids be in a district where there is the school resource officer that they have access to. So it's just, I want people to be mindful of all of those things, you know, because teaching just looks so much different now than it did 20 years ago. I can tell you at the end of the day, I have been a therapist, I've been a nurse, I have been the teacher, I've been the mom, I've been the dad, I've been the grown-up because we can't say mom or dad anymore. Like, so there's just so many different parts to it. And I know, again, hands are tied and you're in this situation and you're looking for ways to get creative with money, but the thought of that and knowing the needs, especially like when I think about my middle schooler, and I have a student who's going to be in kindergarten next year, and then my 2 high schoolers. So it's just, I love this community. I think that I will speak so many positive things about it because I think this is a great place to live, but to have to eliminate teaching positions of any kind, it's painful to listen to. So I wanted to echo that, and I want the teachers in the district to know that they 100% have my support, and I feel terrible that we're even in this situation. So I don't know if maybe we'll kind of make you think differently about, but I also love sports too, so I don't know how I feel about that. You say what you're gonna say, and I'll just stay up here.
That's the thing is
Right.
that
Wait a minute.
being creative with what other choices there are.
I mean, my thing with sports is, I'm not cutting the.
Wait a minute.
Sorry, I thought you asked me a question, so I was gonna answer it.
Are you all set?
I am. Well,
Thank you.
not really, but I will.
I know. Thank you. All right, I wanted to say something after she spoke,
Okay.
so, because I wanted to move things along. I wanted to add that, one, we're not cutting anything from elementary school under what I suggested.
Yeah.
And we're not cutting anything classroom teachers at the high school. We're talking about a media specialist that would be combined at the middle school and the high school. So having said that, I'll make a motion that we, and I want to make sure my math is right. Make them, make the, to amend on the, at the deliberative, the budget to read 31,111,700. Is that right?
Oh, John, you're ahead of me. Look, now I'm even calling you the wrong name. Ooh,
But anyways, if we can get a second,
can you say that number again?
might not matter.
I'll second it for discussion because I have another question.
31,111,700. Am I close? I took 31,651,240. Subtracted 539.
Sorry, I was
540.
looking at the new warrant, not our current. Gotcha.
That's what I'm going by is, I'm talking about our budget, removing the 539, 550, 540, excuse me. Go ahead, Joe.
The media specialist, how will that affect our? Frame? Do they do, I mean, how's it going to affect scheduling?
They have RAM, but mostly it's, well, that RAM would have to be absorbed. So 15 kids would have to be absorbed throughout the school for that RAM. But are you talking people coming in here? I mean, we still have to find coverage. I mean, there's study halls in here now, so I mean, that would be kind of the plan.
I mean, we have a hard time finding coverage now.
Well, Gretchen has study hall. She does study hall every day.
Well, okay.
I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I would have to I can figure anything out. I just, it's not going to be perfect. So I don't want to say I can't do it because I can, but it's not great. I can make anything work, but it's, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. So I'm just like, it's not perfect, but I can figure it out. And will there be hardship and sacrifices? Absolutely. But, we can figure it out.
Go ahead,
We would
Steve.
lose a librarian. Is that what we're saying?
At the high school.
Well, no,
No,
we're combining
district wide.
2 media specialists into 1. So we would combine middle school and high school.
Right. So, but that person can't possibly be in both places at the same time. So how does that work in terms of someone being, if kids want to use the library in one of the schools, the librarians at the other school, what do they do? If the librarians at the high school, what do they do at the middle school that day? Do they not get to use the library?
There might be some time for that. Yep. There might be some time where we can find coverage.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. All those in favor of the motion? Aye.
You gotta,
We
Oh,
gotta
that's fine.
roll up.
Sorry,
Alright.
I'm gonna, Joe,
no,
Cindy,
Yes.
Steve,
No.
myself, yes, so the motion fails. All right, I'll entertain another motion.
I'm going to use the restroom.
What other motion? What are we gonna do?
well, give me 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Give me
You
1
have a
second.
suggestion?
I
Okay.
have a suggestion, yeah. I gotta fix that.
Joe, just so I have some idea where,
Jim,
are you
you're
going?
waiting for us. Why don't we take care of you now?
Okay.
At work?
We're gonna be here a while.
No burning rush.
We've got a lull in the action.
Okay.
Joe's trying to do some
Figure out.
math.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Jim McLeod, and I am the town moderator, and I am also the Director of Planning and Development, but I am here as a citizen. I just want to make that clear.
Yep. Thank you.
So on the school warrants, I'm just doing the math here, and I'm hoping somebody can just explain this to me. It looks like basically for every $100,000 in appropriations equals about 8 cents per $1,000.
Easy way to look at it is ballpark 136,000 is 10 cents.
Okay, so using that same math, I think that there might be a misprint on number 5 because it says basically rounding numbers, 550,000, but there's only 4 cents per $1,000.
Because what happened, we're talking about an increase from the prior year warrant article.
Hmm.
And that increase is like $50,000. And that's what that represents.
Okay, so it was maybe 500,000 this year. It's 549,000. So it's actually only the 49,000 that. Okay.
Yep, and that's the difference there.
Okay. And then on the, is there anyone to speak about the citizens petitions?
They're not here. So, but that's not the intent of that tonight because we're here to either to recommend or not recommend those petition warrant articles or that one, because what happened was we got one after the last board meeting or at the last board meeting, actually. So we voted on which will be number 7 on the warrant, the one regarding the solar and the $258,000 payment. We voted to recommend that last week. And tonight we're talking about the one to raise and appropriate 100,000 for the CRF and to name the budget committee the fiscal agent.
Okay, I'm not sure how that works, but the 100,000 one, the numbers work out fine, as does the impact on passing the 258,000 from warrant number 7, the
Yep.
citizens petition. Can anybody explain to me where the $1.87 per 100,000 assessment came from for not passing?
Yep, sure. We have, when I say we, the contractor has approximate close to $2 million in spent already. So as you know, the lighting above us are part of that project. It's in the building. We have fencing, we have engineering work. We have a boiler on order that we've put a down payment on. And all the materials you see out on as you come up the driveway to the left, those have all been purchased. And we need to pay that back if the no means no. So that's why we would have to pay out close to $2 million if that were to pass.
Okay. I'm
Or
not sure.
fail, excuse me, if it failed.
So
So what would happen
the
is
money for that project isn't already allocated?
we don't have money. It's a lease. So we didn't upfront any money on that.
Okay, so this is just a lease payment.
The lease payment, if we can't pay it, we don't have a
You pay
lease.
The whole thing.
We have to pay whatever we,
So that's why the impact is so significantly higher.
Yes.
Because it's not for one pay. If you don't start making the payments, then you have to pay the whole thing at once.
no, we don't have to pay the whole thing at once. We have to pay
Oh, what?
the vendor has purchased already. And that, it includes, as you know, engineering work and everything else that we can see here. And like I said, $1.2 million, I think 1.2 million was the estimated cost of the boiler. And they had to put a down payment on that.
And why is this a citizen's petition and why isn't this like just a standard warrant?
Because you'd have to talk to the petitioners about that, why they wanted to do it. I wouldn't want to speak for them.
Okay, so
Because the board is well within its purview to do what it did.
I don't even know about that part of it.
But I'm just explaining why we didn't have an article. The board did not need an article to do what we're doing. The citizens wanted to do this. So again, I wouldn't want to speak for the citizens.
Okay, so is it your contention that if this citizens petition doesn't pass, that the school would then have to pay the vendor $2 million?
In essence, ballpark number, yes.
And so we're relying on the citizens petition to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Well, let's put it this way. It was in our budget that we paid that off.
That lease payment of 258.
We also have the savings in there from everything that we have. I know our numbers, we were very conservative. We figured it would be about $60,000 a year. I think Doug came up at the time, he said it was gonna be $20,000 a year. So the entire project would cost approximately between what we have to pay and what the savings were. According to Doug's estimate, it would be around $400,000 a year. Which ours was more than that. It was about 60,000, be about 1.2 million. So approximately.
No, and so the goal would be to, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but as the years go along, that delta decreases.
The 258 number.
Yeah.
Between delta, that and what we're saving.
Yeah.
Because next year, as you know, the solar panels are going up as we speak. And we won't realize the full savings until next year. And that's what this article is about for next year.
All right, so this is still very confusing for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I am coming at this pretty fresh. I know that there's been, a lot of discussion about this.
Sure.
So did we not already have a plan to pay the 258,000?
We did. We do.
We did.
Yep.
So is it your contention then that this will cost the taxpayers $1.87 per 100,000 if the citizen petition doesn't pass?
Well,
Because you already have a plan to pay the.
right. But what happened, and this is where it gets,
Thank you. This is the part that I'm trying to understand.
Is
Right.
interesting.
you're familiar with no means no on a warrant article.
Yes.
The petitioner's contention is if that goes down, loses, that means we cannot pay for the lease payment. So if we can't pay for the lease payment through the operating budget, that means we have to
Break the lease and
break the lease and pay our vendor the close to $2 million that they've got invested already.
Does the petitioner understand that?
I'm not going to speak for the petitioner.
All right.
I don't think that would be appropriate for me.
The $1.87, has that been verified like from DRA or is that just what has been submitted with the article?
We as the district, put that number, attach that number to the article. The petitioners don't do that. It's up to the governing body to assign the impact. And I'll let either Marjorie or Terry speak to what process.
it's not me.
I have a
It
question.
was a process.
Yep.
And
It's
that's fine.
calculated by us.
So that amount is a little high because I was working with the contractor that we have. So currently we owe somewhere around $2 million. By the time we get to here in March or deliberative session,
in
he's
March.
expecting it to be $2.5 million. So my estimate right there is based off of $2.5 million. It's a little high, but again, with him, he said that's conservative.
Okay.
So I misspoke. It's more than that. It's more than 2 minutes to 2.5 because that's what we in March.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how this comes
I
out.
have a question.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Yep.
does the warrant article, I know that people signed it,
Mm-hmm.
but is there a person that he can go to who crafted that he could ask that
Well,
question?
I will
that we
only
couldn't
speak
answer?
to who has come forward each time to speak to it, and that's Mr. Vogel. Doug Vogel has been the spear. I would consider leading that group because he's spoken to it many times with us. And so.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Chair and the board. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. All right, Joe.
Sorry, I was speaking at the same time. It completely threw me off here. Does anybody else have anything to say except for dead silence? That's right now.
All right, why don't we, you want us to move on?
Yeah, we can move on to that.
All right. I'm gonna move down to deliberative sessions schedule.
Sorry, was there gonna be another motion? I thought Joe said he was gonna make
Yes.
another
Yes,
motion.
we're waiting. Joe is doing some calculations. He's got his
Okay.
abacus out. And he's working on it now, so we're just, as opposed to dead silence, we're gonna try to make the time productive and
Okay.
move
Hey,
on to
Terry,
deliberative
loan him
session
some fingers.
speaking. I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was telling Terry to loan Joe some fingers.
Oh. So we have two citizens petition warrant articles and we need to, I think we said we wanted to speak to them at the last meeting. We just wanted to wait until we got all of them in. And there's two, the one we had voted on last week and the one we received last week. So there are two. So we're looking for volunteers to speak to those two petition warrant articles.
The citizens petition?
That's correct.
You mean at the deliberative session?
That's correct.
Okay. I just have a question about the one that is the 100,000.
Let's,
Can I ask
let's
a
go back
question
to
about
that. We'll go
Oh,
back to
okay.
it when we cover that one, because we're gonna do that separate.
Which one are we working on then right now?
Speaking, Scott, who's gonna speak first?
Oh, I can't speak on it if I don't know what I'm,
No, I
I have
understand.
questions.
Do you want to do, 7 then? Or do you want to do,
I'll do this.
you'll do
7
7?
and 8, right?
7 and 8 are, the first one, 7 is the one that, I'm
We could give Tony 8.
not gonna volunteer anybody. So you want to do 7 or 8 or both? I don't think you want to do both, do you?
I'll do 7.
7?
I can do one of those.
All right, you'll do number 8, Steve, the one for capital reserve funds in the amount of 100,000 and making the budget committee.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
thank you.
sorry, that's just a presentation, right?
Yep,
Yeah, I'll do it.
thank you. All right. Now we can. You need more time, Joe?
Yeah, okay, I can cover 71.
All right, what do I want to do next? Oh, gosh. All right, the coffee hour that I messed up on. I volunteered for the Lamprey River Elementary School Principal's Coffee Hour. And I should have looked at the right date. I have a conflict that morning, so I cannot do that. So we're looking for another board member to present at the coffee hour on the 24th at 10 a.m. Is there anybody that can do that?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. now?
Oh, what day is that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The 24th.
I'm on the wrong day too.
It's contagious.
24th is at 10.
Is it 10? Sorry.
I was reading what Jen had written.
Yeah, she's right. I'm wrong
I didn't want to say it, but
again. I can do it myself if you want. The 2 to 3 people that'll be there. I have no
I
problem.
hear there's dozens coming.
Even if there's a,
The word that you're doing it.
even if there's a dozen, I can do it myself.
I said dozens, plural.
I can do it.
Thank you. All right, we've got that done. All right. I'm trying to, Joe needs to be part of,
I think,
all set?
I think I'm good.
Now we're back to the operating budget and what,
Stick with me because I don't know. I've got writing all over the place here, so. I had John's writing and I had now my own, so it's all over the place.
Am I pulling up the budget sheet? Are you gonna tell me where you're going?
I'll tell you.
Try to follow you.
I'll tell you when I'm going.
Okay. I'll tell you where I'm going.
I propose that and I'm just gonna, we cut the middle school 5th grade teacher. I had that wrong, yeah.
It's still, yes, that's a no or yes? You said you had that wrong.
I had that wrong.
So we're back to,
I think we're good here, though. Middle school 5th grade teacher, the 2 administrators.
Joe, are you saying that you want to cut or add?
Cut.
Cut, okay.
And $162,122, I believe it is. 60, yeah. Sports, not the transportation, just the sports.
What was that number again?
Yeah,
$162,122, I believe it was.
What would that be?
Which ones?
That would be, it would be the high school, middle school, and elementary school.
All sports.
Yep.
Would disappear.
Well, they wouldn't disappear, it'd be pay to play.
Okay. Right. What about the pay to play for all the other co-curriculars?
Did not get into that one.
Huh, okay. Yeah, I can't support that. We're gonna make people pay. One, it's part of the high school experience. We don't make anybody pay for anything other than, I think, a few classes that, like woodshop. I don't know if it's called woodshop anymore. I'm dating myself.
I don't even know if that's still
industrial
happens.
arts.
Industrial arts. And then maybe photography. I don't know that
I don't think we do that
Okay.
anymore either.
we don't have to.
Oh, excellent.
Because
Back in the day, yes, I agree.
no, I mean, I think we used to, because they would purchase their wood. We purchase their wood
I
now.
think so. Or it's donated or, yeah, I don't
We smoke.
I don't remember seeing any fees. I could be wrong.
Anything on that one?
All right, anyways.
I'm not depositing any fees,
Yep, okay.
so
So we're not.
Hmm.
So we're not collecting any fees at any high school class now, because we have been in the years past. That you can recall. Okay, thank you.
unless there's certain ones that maybe go through the student activities account. But
So maybe there is.
I'm wondering, like the AP classes, don't you typically
No.
have to pay
Nope,
sometimes?
the only thing you pay is the AP exam.
Yeah.
That goes to College Board, because College Board needs their cash.
He's on here.
So, yeah, I think it's important that we offer students something other than that they don't have to pay for. We offer those co-curriculars, we offer National Honor Society, we offer Granite State Challenge, the Diversified Club, Art Club, or all these things at the high school. Middle school offers many clubs, and the elementary school offer a few clubs. We don't charge them.
I'll make a different proposal here. We'll go a little quicker here.
Well, yeah, hopefully you're not doing it for my sake, because I'm not going to support cutting or making people pay to participate in school activities.
So
That's just me.
we'll cut, middle school, 5th grade. The SRO. The 2 administrators. So I put that in 1, 2. Well, I believe that comes to $31,368,295.
How much are you cutting?
Oh, I'm so close.
So-
Uh-oh, I must have missed.
No, wait a minute, Joe, if you could tell me the number that you're cutting, not the final number.
Yeah.
What you're cutting.
The number that
Oh,
you're
yeah, so
cutting.
many things on my
I
computer.
got it. Hold on
I
here.
have $282,415.
What was your final number?
Wait a minute. What was your number, Marjorie? 280 what?
282,415.
15? Thank you.
2764.
About 282.
282,415.
I probably got the wrong one of those. It's the first one and the last one.
Sorry.
Go
just
ahead,
to
Joe.
clarify,
Go ahead,
that's-
Steve.
That's to cut, Joe, you said a 5th grade teacher, the SRO, and 2 administrators?
Administrative assistants.
Yeah,
You can't see the list. We want to make sure you're clear. Yep.
Yep, administrative assistants, okay. I know you guys are doing numbers. What would that be without cutting the 5th grade teacher?
Let's deal with one thing at a time. I don't want us,
100,000 about.
are you gonna make a motion, Joe?
Well, I just, what number did you have for a final number? Because I think we are off a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
$31,368,825.
What was that again? 31 million?
31,368,825.
Audrey, sorry, but the 100,000, 10,000 and 1,000, what numbers were they?
That's okay. I don't know what you were just asking. So
100,000.
31,
Yep,
368,
368. I had,
825.
thank you. I had the
Welcome.
5, I had a 6 and I had it at 5. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I actually took, okay, six.
So if we did that,
John,
oh, so we're gonna recommend a number right
no
now?
fees. I just peeked. Just the AP exam.
Yeah, that's not a,
Oh, would be nice if I added that better.
and that's not a fee
Well, no,
because you don't have to pay for it to take the class.
no. To take the test, you got it.
So I took John's number. Now I got 31,368,295.
That 31,329. I don't know.
I took it to what John had. For his cuts, I added back in,
Why wouldn't you just take the original, what he said, then just take your cuts and subtract?
no, I added them because I added people back.
I know, but what I'm saying is you take what we had for original budget and cut what you cut and then just subtract it. Instead of going backwards.
Democracy in action.
That's what she did.
Sometimes it's hard to follow all of you guys, so. This is what Terry
54,000
suggested at the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
This is what John suggested, and now this is what you're suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might as well just say,
So,
let's just do the
You both
default budget.
suggested that one?
You're only, he's only
suggested
54,000
that
off
one?
of the
Well,
default.
in my mind,
And that
we
one.
should
So then that's
specify where the,
Oh, you know why? Because I have set,
Not just-
17170.
It's close.
The number is the number,
that's
like, it's
fine.
probably
I
gonna
have
change anyway,
I can't
because,
close the number.
well, by the time we start July 1st, absolutely.
Yeah. so,
Okay.
We're gonna go with it.
That comes out right. So
Justify.
that's where the number was off.
Yes.
Okay. So I will make a motion to amend on the floor a budget of 311 million.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
311 million.
I know.
31,368,825.
There we go. Give a second, please. Second for
They're all
discussion.
Second.
You all set, Jen? This has been a little interesting. Are you okay so far?
Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Yep.
Sorry, I transposed, I added another note after I took out one of the numbers.
All right. Any discussion?
I just,
So they got confusing. We're still talking just those 4 positions?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, it changed like 9 times. I just want to be sure. Okay.
All right. Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to mention it's only 54,000 difference than the default budget. So
Okay.
I don't know. And I know that it's gonna change because, you know, when people come and go, the numbers are gonna be a little bit different, so. Have fun with that. I mean, I guess I'm all for lowering the budget, but like I said before, you know, I don't even like cutting the teachers. But in this case, we're really only cutting one teacher and we're cutting the SRO, which
Trying to come up with a compromise
We
here, so
kinda
we're not
wanted-
two all night
we
long.
kind of wanted that, yeah, but I guess it is what it is.
All right. Poll vote this time. I'm trainable. Joe,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Steve,
I'm not a fan of cutting the 5th grade teacher. I'm going to say no.
He threw me a curveball.
Yeah.
I'm a no. I want it to go lower.
Okay.
Actually, I'll change it. I'm gonna say yes, because I think, yeah. So I support it. So it passes 3-1.
The ball's going all over the place. Yeah.
All right. Next up. You need anything from us on that?
Who was the second guy?
Cindy.
I was,
Okay,
yeah.
just double check.
Marjorie and Terry worked all set on. Okay. All right, next up. Citizens petition warrant article. We need to weigh in on this. The petition reads, submit, this is submitted by the petition.
Jen's really confused.
Okay, sorry.
Too many curveballs.
Marjorie doesn't need to know where to make the cuts. No, we're good. Go on.
Okay. Submitted by citizens petition, and the warrant article would read, or the article would read, excuse me, shall the school district vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 and then in parentheses, in total, so that the following amounts of can be added to the following previously established capital reserve funds in order to implement the school district's 2025-2026 capital improvement program, and to further name the municipal budget committee as the agents to expend these funds. Raymond School District Equipment Facilities Maintenance and Replacement Capital Reserve Fund established in 2006, $65,000. Technology Capital Reserve Fund established in 2001, $25,000. Food Service Equipment Capital Reserve Fund established in 2006, $10,000 for a total of $100,000. So we got to weigh in whether to recommend or not recommend. I do have some questions about the impact. I don't know if conversations with the attorney happened regarding my question yet, so I'll ask the question. The first question I have is, does this impact in any way our $500,000 plus warrant article in that we are named as the agents, the school board is? Here, they're changing it to the budget committee. So we've got two now CRF warrant articles. If they both pass, does the school board take care of the 625 or the $550,000 one and the budget committee? I think also there's a follow-up. Is it legal for the budget committee to have raise and appropriate?
According to our attorney,
No, they do not. Okay.
Well, but let's have a rule that our attorney is saying he
They haven't found anything.
that says that they can appropriate.
And I agree with our attorney on that one. But you were asking about the other funds, and in my mind, they're sitting there saying, it says the committee has the agents to expel these funds, and it's $100,000.
No, I was, I understand. That's the way I'm reading it, but I just,
Weighed in on it. He has not weighed in on that.
the impact to the other potentially. Okay, so if we could get clarification on that.
Hey, John, sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
Um,
If you just signaled your hand by raising your hand, then I can get you.
He's
oh,
driving.
sorry. Yeah, I tried that on the highway. I waved at 4 different people. They didn't know what I was doing.
Right, but I need to know, Steve, so I need you to do that so that I know you're there waiting for me.
Yeah, no worries. I apologize. The question is, and I'm literally minutes from the building at this point. So according to RSA 3222, the budget committee can't actually expend anything. We can recommend, they can tell what the bottom lines are, but they have no authority to expend. So how does that affect the outcome here? And I don't know if the lawyers already weighed in on that portion of it. So if this passes, do we raise and appropriate $100,000 that nobody can expend?
Well, the attorney, I don't know if you heard Terry say, the attorney doesn't believe the the budget committee can do it. So I don't know what would happen if it were to pass as is.
Yeah, that's my concern. I'd hate to see us put money aside that no one can spend.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Cindy.
So what is their purpose in doing this, since we already have?
Yep, you'd have to ask the petitioner.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not
They
gonna
didn't
speak.
say
for them.
anything. So this just like appeared to you?
No,
They didn't have any explanation?
Mr. Vogel gave it to us last week.
Yeah,
He talked about it, but I'm not gonna try to speak for the petitioner.
okay.
I won't
I'll go
do
watch
that.
the video. So that, I guess I had the same question, is this over and above the 600,000 or 550?
550-ish number, yeah.
So they want to raise 100,000 more on behalf of the school or for the school that they could spend. Yeah, I don't get it.
Right. Somebody want to make a motion I'll make a motion to recommend the CRF as submitted by the petitioners, excuse me.
I'll second.
All right, anybody want to discuss? Yeah, I'm not going to support it. One, we had people on the budget committee concerned about the amount of money that we're trying to put into the CRF. And here we've got our petitions adding more to it. Also, I don't think it's legal to name the budget committee. So on those two fronts, I can't recommend that. Anybody else want to weigh in before we vote?
I believe the same thing. I know the budget committee said, that, we're putting too much in with the 540, but now we're gonna have another warrant articles. And again, I don't think it's legal, so.
All right. So the motion, we're going to vote on the motion. Joe?
No.
Cindy?
No.
Steve?
No.
Myself, no. Motion fails, so we will not recommend. All right.
Friday, when the budget committee will vote on this next Thursday.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Oh, yeah, you were gonna go over that. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's fine.
Question.
Go ahead.
So will this definitely go on the warrant? This is definitely going to go
Yeah.
on the ballot, but we're going to just say we don't recommend it.
Correct.
So-
See how it's blank
Some
down
people
there?
might say, well, they don't recommend it, so we will. Yeah.
Something will go on the ballot. It won't be, it might not be this particular thing because we don't know what's gonna happen
Right,
at the
deliberative.
session.
Okay. Okay,
It's going to the deliberative.
okay. Got it.
All right, so next up, school district warrant approval. As Terry was saying, the budget committee wasn't able to weigh in on the CRF because it wasn't posted for that. They weren't posted for that for Tuesday, this past Tuesday, yesterday, I guess. So we can approve the warrant, and the vote of the budget committee would then be put on the next day. We can vote tonight and do it. However, that puts the school board in a bind because we need to sign it on Friday to get it posted for Monday, the warrant. So we need to make sure that we have a quorum, or three of us at least, go into the SAU after it's ready, and we'll be told when it's ready, I presume.
It's next Friday, not this Friday.
Okay.
Sorry, next Friday. Thank you.
Yep.
I thought that
I was a little confused.
crunch time.
Next Friday.
So that would be.
So there needs to be at least three of us to get it up so that Jen can get it posted. And that's the one where we sign some of it once, some of it twice, and then like 7 times over that we have to sign them or something. So there's multiple signatures. So having said all that, what we need to do is make a motion to approve the warrant as presented. The only thing that that would be updated would be the vote that we took tonight on the operating budget. That will be inputted, excuse me. And then on the citizens petition for number 8, the CRF, the school board's vote, in this case, it was not to recommend, and then the budget committee, their vote would also be put on there. I'm lost for words. All this excitement. So, everybody understand we're voting to approve the warrant as presented.
Okay. So when we sign it, we're just signing it as, I agree that this is accurate.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not saying that you necessarily believe in all of it or any of it.
You just,
Again,
I'm on the
Steve is into
school
building.
board and I sign.
Oh, this one. Oh, the whole packet. Oh, the whole packet. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
All right, so I will make a motion to accept the warrants as presented.
I'll second it.
All right. He's still,
He's getting a pen.
okay.
I'm grabbing a pen. Sorry.
No, I'm just waiting for you to get back so we can vote. Where, the motion was to approve the warrant as presented tonight with the additions of the particular votes that we did tonight. Okay, I can do a regular vote now. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. You did the deliberative session, that's fine. We revise policy first reading. JICD. Student discipline and due process has been revived. There are minor edits throughout as proposed by the New Hampshire School Board Association. Questions, comments about JICD?
I have a question.
Okay.
What exactly does removals under this policy?
Where are you on it?
First page.
We're at.
Halfway.
Under B,
One, it's in red. Wondering that, if it is,
I mean, they just can't appeal it.
but what can't they appeal? It says removals, what, I mean,
We removed them from the classroom.
okay, so that's,
Wait a second, is this Jen
it's not a permanent removal, right? It's the
Correct.
removal for that
Not a
particular,
are not appealable are in each section, which means if a student is removed from the classroom, they cannot appeal it. But it's not all day. It's just like you were
out of order.
out of order. They said, please go to the office. You got to go to the office.
can we be a little bit more specific on that?
I think we took this right from the New Hampshire School Board. So
Yeah, and it's under where the student is sent to the building principal's office or other designated. I think it's,
Well, how about, because it says this policy, how about section, it's not the whole policy, is it?
any removal,
yeah, any classroom removal. How about that?
I'll go with that one.
restrictions, pensions.
Yeah, and I don't know who's it gonna go to appeals, but
Oh, okay.
then I want to go see the superintendent. In the middle English classes, I'm getting removed. Can we just add any classroom removal?
Sure. Jen's got that, right? Yep.
All right. Anything else from anybody? Go ahead.
I'm just going to excuse myself. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Sorry, I didn't get to meet you.
No, you're all good. I'm sure I've met you before. I've been here.
All right. Next up, policy JKAA, use of restraints and seclusion. There are minor edits throughout proposed as a result of New Hampshire School Board Association. Blah. Questions, comments on JKAA?
So with. It says child means person who has not reached the age of 18. I know we have some individuals that are gonna be over the age of 18, so how does that affect?
I'd have to look up the RSA.
Because it also.
Well, it also
child
includes a person.
in actual attendance who is less than 22, so.
Can we get that?
Yeah,
Not necessarily now.
yeah. I think it's not gonna, it sounds like legalese to me, so.
Anything else for JKAA? All right, next up, KDA-R Public Information Program. We're redacting this as KDA was already redacted. And we've already said that the board wants to do this. Questions, comments on this one? All right, next up. KEE Website Accessibility and Grievance. And the revisions are per the New Hampshire School Board Association. Questions, comments on KEE?
I had a question on that.
Go ahead.
This talks about accessibility. I'm not sure I understand. Is this like, I was thinking if somebody's blind or something. I don't really, that's what I was looking at it.
Yeah, it has to do with ADA compliance and
And how do
504,
you make
Title
that,
II.
how do you make that compliant for every single?
I'll let the
I would
Yeah.
have to ask Matt on that, but I know we have to do certain things. I don't think we have to do text to speech, but I think if somebody asked, we would probably have to make that, and I'm guessing. So I don't know. So I can ask Matt. on
I was
that,
just
too.
wondering, because I would think they would have their own, like, say it's gonna be read to them, they would have their own device or something
That's what I
to
would
be
have
able to
thought
do it. But we have to provide that. I was just,
All right, go ahead.
Typically, web design does include accessibility, things like text to speech. So some of it has to do with color blindness. There's certain color choices you can't use because some folks won't be able to see parts of the website. Some of it is text size, the ability to increase the font size. You can't have a website that's restricted to a certain font because if someone is not blind, but can't see well, they should be able to increase the text size. So it's kind of stuff like that.
yeah, I was just wondering how you make it acceptable for everyone, like, or do they have to call up and say, hey, I have this issue, can you fix the website to accommodate?
It should be part of our web design. So if we haven't got it in the web design, I'm sure there's a guideline for all of the things that are required for ADA compliance on that.
Can you just ask Matt?
Yeah.
Cost to this, because I mean, like the font, I can make my screen, come closer to me, which makes the font look bigger, at least. I mean, it just gets closer to you. But I mean, like Cindy said, most individuals that have issues have something already. I mean, especially if they're totally blind. I mean, they have something that can read to them. I mean, last time I was on Google, it did read to me, so they must have something to be able to type in.
Most laptops have the ability now. That's just what the web is. I'm not saying we have to do it. That's just usually
Or what if you don't have anybody who's blind that needs it, but you're paying for it?
Well, I think it's because you might have somebody out of district who wants to look at that webpage.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I think we don't have anybody who's blind in the district because they could be or hearing impaired or.
I gotta ask Matt.
I guess it's just a matter of knowing like what is the like standard for it.
Yeah.
And if something that you didn't think
Friday
of
memo was
comes
a little
up.
light because board meeting after board meeting, so hopefully I can get that to you by the end of Friday memo. I don't know, Cindy. I'd have to.
Yeah, it's okay,
Yeah,
it's okay. I
Those
just,
things like,
I'm just
looking at
asking.
ours, I'm like,
Cause I never really thought about it of having to
obvious.
provide a special, like on the website. Like I said, I would think a person who has a disability would know what you have to do to accommodate.
If we have a video on there, do we have to make it,
Yeah.
closed caption?
I don't know.
Stuff like that. I mean,
all right, look, I don't, that's a,
Could be a deaf person and we have something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Next up, new revised policies, second reading. There are no changes to these. ADC/GBED/JICG prohibitions regarding use and possession of tobacco products, e-cigarettes, and e-liquids in and on school facilities and grounds. Get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept policy ADC GBEDJICG.
Second?
Second.
Second by Cindy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, policy ADB/GBEC, drug-free workplace and drug-free schools. You still here? Good motion.
I'll make a motion to accept policy ATB-GBEC.
Second.
Second by Steve. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up, policy DAFB, equivalence in instructional staff and materials.
I'll make a motion to accept policy DAFB.
Second? I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Policy DK, payments, checks, and manifests. Get a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept policy DK.
Second.
Second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next one, JJE, student fundraising and crowdfunding. Get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to accept policy JJ.
Second, please. Second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up, nomination/resignations.
I have one resignation. I'm Mackenzie Ledoux, SEL teacher at the middle school. Resignation effective January 16, 2025, pending liquidated damages.
Wait. Okay, I'll make a motion then. I'll accept motion to accept the resignation of Mackenzie Ledoux effective January 16th, 2024, 25, excuse me.
Second.
Pending the receipt of her liquidated damages per the CBA. Second by Steve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jen, you can't see it, or I don't think you can, but Joe's out of the room, so it was 3 yes and 0 no's. All right, next up. Superintendent evaluation schedule. By policy, we need to have the superintendent evaluation done and gone over with Terry by March 7th. And it also called out that the board will go over in February, the evaluation individually, and then we'll join together and go over it and get a combined evaluation, as we've done in the past. So first, we're looking for a date that we want to do the board evaluation together. Without Joe here, it's kind of, Tony's not here, but Joe is now here. We can do it the middle Wednesday of February if the board wants. That gives everybody time. We want to do it the second week, or the third week, excuse me. Trying to pull up my calendar. I'm not as fast as I once was. So we could do it February 12th, which is the Wednesday night, the second full week of February. Does that work?
February 12th.
Yep. At 6.
Yeah, that should be fun. But that would be just for the eval, that wouldn't be a full meeting.
That would be a non-public meeting to go over everybody's. Now we've just got, if that works for everybody, that works for everybody.
Mhm.
So February 12th at 6, and Jen will point us in the right direction after gets a chance to look at room availability in the coming days. If I can get the individual evaluations from you folks by the 14th at 5 in the afternoon, does that work for everybody? 14th is the Friday. I think it's Valentine's Day.
Time out here.
Yep.
I have a question. You did say we're gonna have.
Oh, you're right. It's 7.
I know, I was like,
I'm sitting there
why?
going, wait a second, we're going to report.
My new math. Earlier events caused much.
Thought I plugged in the wrong date or something.
No. How about 7th? February 7th, nothing to do with Valentine's Day, by the way. I don't know what I was talking about. Does that work?
Yeah.
And if you want to give it to me electronically, that's fine. Or hard copy, that's fine. If you do it hard copy, put it in the mailbox and just let me know that it's there.
And if we want to do it electronically, will it be sent electronically?
Yeah, I'll talk to Jen in the morning.
I can do that.
Anything else on that?
What time on the seventh? Just any time on the seventh?
Just by 5 if you could,
By
just so
5,
I don't have to. Right with anticipation. The longer the day goes, the excitement builds.
Mhm.
All right, moving along. We didn't get the coffee hour because we didn't have anybody. Terry's gonna do that. So next up, committee reports. Anybody have committee reports?
Actually, I can actually do the coffee hour. I was.
No, that's fine.
Invited this
All
all
right.
right, but I can do the.
Take the pressure off.
Bullpen has already been asked to call. Got her in, no? Okay. All right, I have committee report. The elementary committee met last week. The first one I attended, obviously. We were discussing core capacity, which is always a fun discussion because of the great unknown of the building, some potential buildings out there. And we also started talking about, we talked about, they've already probably talked about, number of classrooms and things like that. And they are leaning towards a new school on the elementary school site. Anybody else for committee? All right. Superintendent's report.
Don't have much. Spent yesterday at the elementary. They're working very hard with a lot of those students. The calendar, I was able to finalize it. I finally got Sanborn's. We're good. There were only 11 dates that were out of whack. So Newmarket and Epping, one of them are going to move a date so that we're fine. So I'll get that. We can put that on the agenda for either February 5th or the second one, but
Always Epping.
Huh?
Always Epping.
they have a lot. They were surprised the number of workshop days they have. So they were an outlier a lot. I was very surprised. They were an outlier more than anyone else. So it wasn't that hard, but yeah, we're good.
I'll zip my mouth on the.
I know you would. It's hard for you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
About the elementary committee,
Yes,
do they take minutes? Do they make notes
yes,
of what
the
they talk
minutes are
about?
posted on the website.
Okay, the minutes are posted on the
At
website.
least for the first two, the other ones are in draft form right now because it was just held last week. So I
Yeah.
don't know
Okay,
the status of where those are. Good. Manifest?
Manifest tonight, payables, $295,389.68, payroll, $517,267.13, for a grand total of $812,656.81.
Thank you.
One signature. Thank you.
I was testing.
I thought so.
That's my story. I'm on my game or not tonight. All right. Get a motion to go into non-public, please.
Motion to go into non-public under RSA 91-A. 2M.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Second by Steve. Joe. Cindy.
yes.
Steve. And myself, yes.